So here is Eton. I've been working pretty slow with him. He's really high flight and he's also pretty sore on that left hind. So trying to keep his sessions really minimal. You see he just always wants to be moving. Just standing outside the panels sometimes can be a little bit of pressure for him, but I have been able to get him to take a couple of bites from me when I am able to go into the pen, but we work on in the beginning him standing and facing up, and I drop the hay on the ground. And here's kind of a close-up. You can see how short his feet are. So again, I'm not sure if the hind end lameness is an abscess or he whacked it, but I at least right there get a little lick and chew, and he's willing to drop his head down. So it's going to take him a bit of time because he's a little bit older. And again, each horse is different kind of in their progress and how they want to come around. So just work with that for a little bit. Give him a little bit of space, and then came back and he's just standing. See, he's ouchy. But he's actually kind of just holding his spot right here, which is nice. Gives a little lick and chew. And then I popped in because he was being quiet, and he had eaten a couple of handfuls of hay on the ground close to me, so worked on him facing up. And again, I'm doing approach and retreat, so I can back away. It's moving a little bit to the side. You see my patches of grass. He doesn't want to eat grass, which is a little odd to me, but to each is their own. You know, like I said, each horse is different. Here he's starting to drop his head a little bit. He's thinking about coming to me and eating some alfalfa. And there he takes a couple of bites. And again, he has eaten from me before, but it's going to take me a little while to kind of get him to trust me and that it's okay. That was really good. I'm doing some thinking right there. He still thinks he's totally fine by himself. He doesn't need me. So I'm starting to look to find a good spot to stop. And I'm just gonna see if and having the alfalfa where it's a little bit longer like this makes it easier for them to kind of, take some longer pieces, especially for the nervous ones. And then I back away. And then go and see if he'll take one more bite from me. And this is where I end up ending the session for him. That was pretty good. Now on to working with Y, who is completely different. So I'm able to get him to walk kind of in the barn pretty freely. He's still pretty ouchy. And so just kind of getting him out a couple of times. He's really funny where he likes to investigate the camera a little bit. But getting him back into the grooming stall, the wash rack, and he seems to be really kind of progressing with this. He's letting me brush him. Really no tension. Doesn't feel worried. So I'm able to brush his withers and working back towards his bum, back towards the tail. So kind of getting into the sensitive areas, and he's good while he's paying attention. He's kind of got an ear, but again, I can feel his energy, feeling pretty good. And this day I had a student over, so it was good for him to have to deal with seeing more than just me. So then I start moving towards touching the legs and getting him used to kind of picking up the foot, so I can start working towards heading towards that back foot to see if, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's an abscess. My biggest concern is that it may have been something with the stifle, but really hoping for an abscess, because if it's an abscess, once that's popped, you're fine. And their feet were pretty short, so it's easy for them to get a bruise. So I'm just here kind of going back up and down the leg, kind of moving down where he's a little uncomfortable and back where he's comfortable, and then moving over to the right side. And again, he's kind of paying attention to what my other student was doing, but he's pretty good with me in there right now. I'm just giving him a good brush, and I'm able to go from kind of the neck all the way back to the flank area, which is pretty good. And I'm just trying to go kind of inch by inch with him. And he still has like a lot of these dirt mats underneath his belly and right under his armpit, so I know that's not very comfortable. So I tried to put some baby oil down on there a little later. And now I'm going to work on the right front. And just kind of slowly moving down and then going back up. And he's getting used to me kind of bending down. That was pretty good. And just giving him rubs all over. And trying to find kind of spots where they feel like, you can be their friend and itch their neck and right on the shoulder. And those are always good when you can get them to really start to enjoy the grooming process. So I was really happy with his session in the wash rack today. And then I was feeling pretty brave and wanted to see if I can get him to go outside and see how he would walk outside, since on the concrete he was pretty ouchy. And he seemed to be walking a little bit better outside. Now, this is his first time outside of the barn or a round pen, so I was really happy with how well he was behaving. Now, mind you, I know he's a little sore, but we're just trying to assess, because he'll take a couple of good steps, and then he'll take a couple of ouchy steps. So, again, I'm just trying to move him around, getting him to move off the pressure. And it's all a little different when you have them when they're a little sore. So just trying to get him to walk. Because again, he takes a couple of really good steps and then sometimes ouchy step. And he's really good at posing. I think he really likes the camera. Then I decided I would try to introduce him to the hose. He seemed like he was in a good mental place. So just getting him to move off the pressure a little bit of the halter and introduce him to the water. Sometimes they spook. They can spook when the hose gets turned on. Now, hindsight, I probably should have had the hose moved over, as he's kind of standing all in between it. So if he was to get spooked, he could have maybe grabbed that and scared himself, but he's handling it pretty well. And again, sometimes training horses, hindsight's 20/20. But I just turned on the hose, introduced him to the water. He didn't seem to mind it, so I just touched his legs first, and then again doing the little approaches and retreat. So I go over to the right side, see if I can get the right side. He's still a little bit more protective of the right side than he is the left, but of course I go to the left side more, so he's just used to that. It's just conditioning. So I start on the side that he is more comfortable with the water, Again, doing the little approaches and retreats, and he doesn't seem to mind it. That was pretty good. Again, trying to get him wet. I had mentioned before he had those mats. Trying to get those to loosen up underneath those armpits, those sensitive areas. So this should help a little bit. Working on the right side again. I'm very happy with how he is taking it all in. He seems to not mind it at all, and I was able to spray him even further back. Really trying to get all that nasty dirt and grime off. It's kind of a fun part of when you get the Mustang, is when you're able to get them all kind of cleaned up. And also working with the hose, thinking of if he had hurt his stifle, the sooner I could cold hose him, the better, and that would help him, give him a little cold hosing therapy. And then after we did a little hosing, went for a little walk on the grass. Now you're going to see he's got his little ding-dong down because he decided he was going to go pee, and then he would just left it hanging out. But I noticed he was walking really actually good. This is soft turf, and he was walking much better. So that makes me think that it's in the foot, and so hopefully we can diagnose an abscess soon.